A response video to Luke again. Wasn't gonna do this subject again so soon, but I'll respond since he did a video, a short one. And the major issue for him is this idea of the centralized government. Like, that's a huge threat. This idea of centralization. It's really is a fundamental part of logical design to centralize, to departmentalize, to prioritize, to apply, to design. That's what designing is ordering things. You're just talking about, the word for what you want is fragmentation. And this idiotic argument that the world is some beautiful example of chaos in work, in progress. Most of the world is living in shit. And the countries that have power obviously are using it in very abusive ways. We are warring in other countries over bullshit. And the only thing that's maintained any peace in the last 50 years, even though we've had these stupid wars, the few that we've had, is the fact that there does exist democracies. That the world isn't being run by emperors. And in your stupid world, corporations and, what's the word for it? Super megala rich people are going to rule the world. That'll be it. It'll be either a corporation or Bill Gates or whoever. The land barons, the barons, however they acquire it. And they're not going to be disciplined. They're going to have their own agendas. And it just doesn't look at the Balkans. Look at this 4 million examples of a bunch of little countries beating the shit out of each other. Fighting over territory and resources and the rest of it. And it's just stupid to think that works. And then I'll go even look further. I got my absentee ballot today. And I don't know if you can read this, but I'll see how close I can get it. But the local election, there's 2 seats available and there's 2 people running. So there is no election. It doesn't work. Because once, especially when you're talking local politics, as soon as it's whatever the dominant population is, they own everything. They control everything. And there's no such there's no minority protections at all, because there's no local constitution. And it's just a perfect example of it's not even a useful democracy. So it doesn't mean anything. It's and just homogenize. It just encourages the very kind of segregation. If I could move out of this fucking town, I would. Because I hate the fuckers in this town. And so I would move to a place more like myself, some kind of, radical full of gays and fucking drug users and all kinds of other radicals. And, what's the point? We just end up segregating from each other, and then eventually we're going to war with each other. Just inevitable. And it's just stupid. Look, and the whole point is there's no point in even having this argument, because you have no provision for any kind of national defense. You have no rational way to limit the very thing that's going to destroy us in a few years anyway, which is technology and the destructive power of it. This is a really big problem in our future. You're talking more individual freedom at the very moment that individual freedom is becoming a huge threat to our fucking existence. You don't seem to understand that millions of people can be killed by one person. That's the world we're looking at. This incredible destruction that just a very few people can reap on a population. And to learn nothing from Timothy McVeigh and 9/11 just shows you're not paying any attention. And It's just stupid. It's what we're going to need in the future. I mean, you're scared to death of this one world government. Why would you be afraid if this one world government had an excellent constitution and a democracy? What scares you about fucking democracy? It's what's called a fair fucking fight. If you can't win the fight, if you can't persuade people, if you can't make the fucking argument, then you deserve what you get. Sorry, very late. You know, so why continue this argument? Like I said, you can't deal with anything without some centralization. You got to have a court system. So how are you going to create your court system? You should have to fucking have it. Who's going to protect intellectual property rights? Who's going to, you know, you're going to have 9 million contract disputes. Who's going to adjudicate all these contract disputes? And then who's going to get taxed to pay for this court system? I mean, it's just idiotic. And then what provision you're going to make so poor people can get into your court system? Because if you privatize your court system, then what? It's going to be only for the rich then, right? So the rich people win every court decision and the poor people lose every court decision. You know, you've made no provision for anything. Life is, you know, social life is more complicated. And like I said, it's a fundamental part of design is to put in, this is like the rules, you know, it's like a baseball game or anything else. You've got to have fucking rules or there's no fucking game. All there is somebody figures out a way to kill everybody on the other side. There's no game. They win. You know, they could stop them from even getting to the game. You know, let's make it part of the game. See how many, you know, I'll take the air out of his tire and I'll blow up his house and I'll do it. You know, you could just wipe out the other team before they even get to the ballpark. Yeah, there's got to be rules to civil life. That's what civilization requires. And this is just an idiotic conversation to talk about getting rid of civilization. We don't need less of it. We need more of it. And it's got to be fucking disciplined. It's got to be, like I said, there's nothing inherently wrong with motherfucking government. All you have to do is put in a few mechanisms of fucking goddamn accountability, and you keep blaming the wrong thing. You keep blaming the centralization. It's not the centralization that's the fucking problem. It's the apathetic public that takes no responsibility to make this system more open and to provide for accountability. Because the general public, like yourself, is a bunch of motherfucking liars who don't want to pay their taxes, and don't want to do this, and they don't want to do that. They're always planning to game the system. That's all you're trying to do is game the goddamn fucking system. Because you're not talking about anything rational or reasonable. Like I said, make your argument defending the existence of a fucking billionaire. What the fuck is the purpose in it? Explain to me what the fucking productive impact is of legacy wealth. I mean, how does that make people more productive? How is being born with $10 million in the bank make a human being more productive? Because it fucking doesn't. So this is just a stupid argument. It's, you know, it's stupid. It's stupid. And so it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, you're trashing the very thing that's made the world more civilized, which is democracy, which is this fact that we settle our disputes in words in a Congress or in a Senate or in some other body, and we don't settle them on the fucking street. And there's no denying that government has gotten out of control with the bullshit, because we've got a bunch of liars in fucking government. But like I said, that can be fixed fucking tomorrow. And then you come up with, look at all this libertarian crap, this crap you listen to. It's just so full of shit. These arguments are so bogus. Oh, the Federal Reserve is the fucking problem. The Federal Reserve is fucking irrelevant. The Federal Reserve didn't borrow the $9 trillion. We fucking did. The taxpayers did. The taxpayers didn't want to pay their fucking taxes. Social Security was financed until 2070, for Christ's sakes, if they weren't borrowing the goddamn fucking money. Even that, you're just all so full of liars. These people post idiotic comments on my board talking about, well, the Social Security money was supposed to be this and that. No, there was no Social Security money. The only time there was Social Security money is when we started pre-financing the goddamn system, because we knew the baby boomer problem was coming up, and so 20 or 30 years ago they decided to tax people extra to build a trust fund. But there was no trust fund originally. It wasn't designed with a trust fund. It's fucking money goes in, money goes out system. There's no fucking goddamn reserve. I mean, there's enough to cover expenses, yeah, but it's not. There's no asset value in the system. Ugh, it's an insurance program. But anyway, so what's the point? Where, like I said, this argument's going nowhere. There's no fucking way you're going to convince me that using less design, applying less intelligence, applying less structure is the reasonable way to go. That's what an intelligent life form, an evolved life form should do. It's idiotic. And you want this fucking, you call it, your market anarchy. Why don't we just have muscle anarchy? Why don't we just let the real strongest, be the leaders and the winners? So we'll just have a brute force game. And so whoever can beat the shit out of somebody else, they win. This is stupid.